Eddie, firstly, the injury situation. Ryan Fraser went off against Wolves. How bad is the problem?
I don't think it's too bad. But it was enough, obviously, to bring him off. I think we had a scan with him, and it showed a very small problem. So hopefully it won't be too long for him. We'll have to see whether he makes this game.
And Joe Willock wasn't available for you last week. Do you know when he'll be back?
Yeah, Joe's made good progress. He's trained this week, so we hope to have him fit.
Are there any other players that you're worried about?
As I sit here now, no. Again, we've got a bit of illness in the camp, so that's sort of been with us most of the season, to be honest. So we're sort of looking at that closely.
Leicester, your opponents on Sunday were playing in Europe away from home on Thursday night, and they had a terrific result. But how much of a bearing do you think it could have on Sunday's game, the fact that they played just a couple of days before? I mean, apart from anything else, they don't have a lot of time between the two matches.
Yeah, I've been in this situation before where we've played teams that have played in Europe, and to be honest, my experience is it doesn't have too much bearing on the next game. I think they've got a squad to cope. A very good group of players. They've had a lot of injuries throughout the season, but they've now returned, so their squad looks a lot stronger. And they've got a manager that's very experienced in managing that situation. So, as I said, in my experience, it's never really influenced the next game at all. So we expect a full-strength Leicester, who are in very good form.
Can you talk to us about the goalkeeper, Martin Dubravka? Because when you came in November, I think in your second game, you put him straight back into the team, and he had been injured in the summer and in the early part of the season. But he's played ever since, and there was another clean sheet against Wolves last week. What is it that you like about Dubravka, and why have you persisted with him above other good goalkeepers? Yeah,
first thing I'd say on that is I think we've got a very good team of goalkeepers. Martin, for me, vastly experienced. I was well aware coming in that he'd had some injury problems, and I think he's improved game on game, really. I think with the sharpness that playing brings, I think he's got better, made some key saves. I remember back to the Southampton game where I thought he was outstanding. So that he's definitely won us points, and I think his confidence has grown with his form, really. So really pleased with him. And I have to say this about him and Carl, they're great professionals. They train really well. So yeah, pleased with that department, really.
How difficult is it for you, though, managing the situation when you have another good goalkeeper who's played quite a bit over the last couple of years, who can't get in the team? Obviously, it's Carl Darwin.
Yeah, very difficult, and I think that's the one position on the pitch where you have sympathy for someone who's not playing, because you're really waiting for something that might never come. And I think Carl's been the ultimate professional. He's, as I say, he's trained well every day. They really do push each other in training. I think they're the ultimate professionals. So I'm delighted to have that strength in depth, and certainly it's important. Such an important position that you need that consistency, but you need that quality.
And last question from me is about Sean Longstaff, a player that you have praised quite a lot since you came in, and even though he hasn't been starting regularly recently, you said that you would like him to stay. Are you any closer to agreeing a new contract with him?
I think talks are continuing. Certainly someone that I have a lot of respect for, a lot of time for. I think he's improved, even though he hasn't played, and that hasn't been shown yet to the general public. I think we've seen a real growth in his training performances, and when he has played, I think he's done very well. But he's certainly someone we like and believe in, and yeah, I see a long-term future for him here. We just hope that we can get the contract sorted.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
For Sky. And in terms of that, as a player, when you're speaking to him about a contract in that situation, maybe he isn't getting the game time, how do you not sell it to him, but how do you sort of map out the future for him?
Well, I think for me, it's all about you need strength in every department of the team, and you know that football being football, there will be opportunities for every player in the squad. Sean, I think when he gets an opportunity in the team, I think we'll take it because of how he's trained, and his general attitude day to day has been first class. I think there's a lot of talent in there. I think he's an incredible athlete, technically very good, and I think he's got an eye for goal as well. So when you look at our midfield, it's a very strong department of the team, and I think those players are pushing each other to better performances. But no, he will get his opportunity, and then it's down to him, obviously, to take it.
How has he dealt with that and dealt with those frustrations? Obviously, he'll be desperate to play for so many reasons. How has he responded to that message you've given him?
I think very well, because the culture here is building, and I think he sees that he has he's been invested in terms of by the coaches and by me, and we're really looking into his game and trying to find ways to take it to another level. Now I know there will come a time when he will want to play or need to play, but I think at the moment he's in a good place, and he's supporting the lads in the team, and he's seeing the evidence of obviously the team being successful. So I think he's okay at the moment, but obviously longer term that will be an issue if he doesn't play.
It's understood that the Liverpool would move to try and get their game with you rescheduled, to be pushed back, give them more time to recover from the European match. What's your take on that as a club?
I think it's a very difficult situation that they've been very successful this year. They've ended up playing a lot of games. So I understand it from their viewpoint. I'd probably have the same opinion if I was them. I think for us, we've been in their position many times over the years where you look at it and you think, how has this ended up, this game being moved to this time or this day? But we have very little say in the fixtures in terms of when they come and how they sit, and you just have to react and deal with it. So I have every sympathy with Liverpool, but they're winning lots of games and they're in lots of competition. It's natural, I think, it's going to be that way.
Would it be unfair on Newcastle if it was changed?
I don't think that's for me to say. I think that we get told when to play and we turn up and do our best.
I guess in the bigger picture of it, play devil's advocate, you could say it would be better for the English game for more clubs to progress further in the competition, for English players to potentially get to a final. So could you take the bigger view on it, so we will kind of acquiesce to that and let them move it?
It's not up to us to decide when, as I said, when games are played. We ended up with 4 away games in very quick succession recently, which was far from ideal for us, but we had to bite the bullet and get on with it. So, as I say, if we don't decide the fixtures, we'll play the game, but I do have every sympathy with them.
Andy?
Morning, Eddie. Can you tell me what sort of physical and mental effect stopping those 3 consecutive defeats has had on the team this week?
I think it's had a big lift for the group. I think no one wanted to see that losing run continue, and although it was on the back of a really good run before that, I think we were well aware that we needed to respond quickly, and especially in front of our own supporters. And those nights at home have been so special for us, and it was another one of those under the lights. I think it was a brilliant night, and it was a big win for us. But now we have to try and back that up with another performance against an informed team.
A big win, like you're saying. I just noticed from watching the game, you were walking around after the game and you kind of seemed to be soaking it in, especially in front of the Gallagher after the full-time whistle had gone. Can you just give us an insight into what was kind of going through your head as you see that picture, hear that noise in the Gallagher after such a big win?
I think it's just a thank you really from us, as in the whole squad, the staff, everyone that was on the pitch, to the supporters, because we know how important they've been. When we came in such a difficult position and we needed to get everybody united. So I think those moments are a great way just to express our thanks to everybody that's backed the team. And I know we'll continue to back the team. So I think it's nice to be able to do it off the back of a victory rather than anything else. So delighted to do that.
I know you've given an update on the other injuries as well. Just wonder about Kieran Trippier and Callum Wilson. How are they doing in terms of their recovery? How are they doing personally, given how long they've spent on the sidelines there?
Personally, they're okay because they're both in a good place. They're both improving in line with probably what we expected. So Kieran, I think, is very slightly ahead of schedule. He's beginning to run back on the grass now, so with his boots on. So that's a great sign for us. He's still now got to build up his fitness and everything that comes with that, but he's in a good place. And Callum's the same. So Callum's hitting balls towards the goal. With no goalkeeper in at the moment, so it's only against mannequins, but he's gradually building up to where he wants to be, so it's great to see.
Have you set any specific dates for them, or is it very much a case of we'll play it by ear?
Yeah, no dates at the moment, no games identified. It's more, we just want them to feel good within themselves and their respective injuries, but they're both improving.
Just one on Bruno. I know we've talked about what he provides on the pitch, certainly, but off it, we've seen that he's taking a lot of English lessons now. We saw that celebration with the ball boy against Wolves. I don't know what your thoughts were on that, but just give us an insight into what he's like as a person away from the pitch as well.
He's a really, really great lad. He's got a really, I think I said this last week, he's got a really unique mix about his personality. So he's very friendly, very, very happy guy, naturally. Mixes really well with his teammates, but he's also got a steely determination that when he enters the training pitch and the match pitch, he changes into someone that's desperate to win. And he's a real competitor. So I think he's got a great personality for football. I think the incident with the ball boy just reflects his softer side, his human side. I think he's a really good person and he cares about other people. So that was a really nice moment for the boy will remember that for the rest of his life.
And just finally from me, it was a bit of a sobering afternoon last time Newcastle faced Leicester. How and why have Newcastle changed since that afternoon, December?
Yeah, that was a difficult day because for thinking back, the first part of that first half, I thought we were very strong and equal in the game. Hopefully, I think we've become a little bit more resilient since that game. I think a little bit harder, hopefully, to play against, to score against, to create chances against. I'd love to think that we've improved, but the reflection of that was always in the performance. I can sit here talking about it, but we've got to turn up and show all those qualities, because if we don't against the attacking players they have, it'll be difficult for us.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
Andrew Hart.
Eddie, Andrew from BBC TV. I mean, as we were discussing there, that game you lost 4-0. So, in what sense is the emphasis now on tightening up at the back, do you think, and being more resilient in that regard? Yeah,
I think the emphasis has been from our side on that. I think we've worked very, very hard to improve the team defensively within the structure of how we play. Now, that'll never stop. You're always seeking growth in that, and we will be working on that, for as long as I'm here. And it's getting that balance between being very tough to play against and tough to create against, to also being creative and free scoring yourselves. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge for us going forward. So, yeah, we're working on both disciplines and trying to become a better team.
And Leicester had just played in Europe a few days before that game, so perhaps proof that actually Europe makes no difference in terms of this game on Sunday for Leicester.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll have any. I know people, the media will probably talk about it, but I don't think it's got anything for us to seek an advantage in. I think it's about how we turn up and how we play. But we expect a very tough game.
I don't know if you're on Twitter, but I am, and my timeline now is full of speculation on signings for Newcastle going forward. I know you can't discuss names, but are you behind the scenes actively now in the transfer market?
No. So I'm not on Twitter, and those names will be a little bit of a waste of energy that you're receiving, because from my side I'm focusing on the day-to-day running of the club, the games, the coaching, the team. That's going to wait. All of the recruitment for the summer will wait for another day for me.
Are you any closer to appointing a sporting director?
Not as far as I know, no.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Questions on the floor? David Solomon?
Just going back to Bruno, managers often talk about building a team around a player. Is Bruno that type of player you can base a team around?
Yeah, well, I think being a central player and his position, yes, in part. I think you have to try and find a way to get the best out of all your players, regardless of their position, and Bruno will be no different. So finding a way to get him to be on the ball in almost all phases of our play, so build-up play and attacking phases. He's very creative. He's very, very comfortable on the ball. That's where we want him, in those positions. So trying to figure out that puzzle is obviously part of my job.
I've got Ian, Dominic and Jordan.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi.
A couple of questions on a similar theme. You're almost unique in the fact that most managers in the summer they have a shopping list which owners are unwilling to accommodate fully. I suspect at this club that the owners probably want to bring in more players than yourself. Could you, because when you look at the progress that you've made in recent weeks, you are very, very happy with this squad, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm happy with the squad, while acknowledging that time never stands still. You have to continually look to improve and evolve. So I've got no problem looking outward and going, right, we need certain things. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it will be the revolution that maybe everyone thinks it will be, and it can't be, because we're under financial restrictions. It's not just a case of sign anybody. and that will never be my way of working anyway, because it's got to be someone that fits within the structure of the team and makes the team better, not just a very good individual. I think that's absolutely fundamental to our future. So for all those different reasons, I don't think it'll ever be a case of, wholesale changes.
I think when you look at the 25-man squad, I think over the course of the recent weeks, you probably lavish praise on each individual. Is it going to be to bring in players? You've got to create room for them, obviously. Is it going to be probably the hardest, toughest period of your managerial life when you bring in players and you have to tell one of the ones who've served you so well that they surplus the requirements?
Yeah, it's never an easy thing to do, but I think if you in your heart it's right for the team, then I'm fully prepared to make difficult decisions. I think you have to. So I've said many times, I evaluate the players every day, every game, and you evaluate the players in the good times and the bad times. So when you win and when you lose, what are their reactions? Because we want to build a team that is consistently successful. To do that, we're going to have to make changes. So everyone, I think, is very aware of that, and I'll be ruthless when I need to be.
Dominic Skirt?
The majority of your team's goals since the turn of the year coming from set-piece situations, just how satisfied are you with that balance compared to maybe scoring goals from open play?
Yeah, we pride ourselves on set plays, whether it's for or against. Now, I've been really, really pleased with this from an attacking side, and while acknowledging again there's still room for improvement. Defensively, I think that there's probably a little bit of room for improvement in that respect for us. But the attitude of the players to our work, so set plays aren't the most exciting things for players to work on, but sometimes they take a lot of time and they're quite repetitive. But the attitude of the guys has been so good to it because they've realised, I think, how important they are to winning and losing. So I think whenever you score from a set piece, it's a good feeling because there's a lot of work that's gone into that.
Jordan Cronin?
This is just presuming that Brian Fraser misses out and Miguel Armstrong comes in on Sunday. Just how important would it be for Miggy to grasp an opportunity and prove that he's got a long-term future at this football club? Because I don't think he started many games under you since you arrived in November.
Yeah, I think that's been in no way a reflection of Miggy. It's probably been a reflection of Ryan and Maxi, who have done very well in the wide areas. So Miggy's a player we really like. He's got as everyone can see, a very infectious attitude. He works incredibly hard. I think he did really well when he came on against Wolves and gave us a different dimension. He ran in behind very well and he pressed very well. So I'd love Miggy to go on a very successful run and do really well. Certainly he's trained very well, again, behind the scenes. His attitude has been excellent from day one since we've come in. So, I'm hopeful that if there is an opportunity for him, he can really grasp it.
Go to Oscar and then George.
Eddie, whether it's people like Sean Longstaff, Dwight Gale, Jamal Lascelles, how are they coping with a lack of minutes? Are they banging on your office door demanding answers, and are you the type of manager who encourages that?
Certainly not the banging so much, but no, they're keen to play. They're keen to play, as everyone in the squad is, and I wouldn't want it any other way. You want players to be very motivated for themselves and for the team. Obviously, I can only pick 11. Those players that you mentioned have been excellent professionals, and that's all I ask. Put your disappointment aside and train to the best of your ability. Be professional in every way. Now, if you want to come and knock on my door and find out a reason why, I'll gladly always speak with the players and have that open relationship with them. And then you need an element of trust between you and them that you're giving them the truth, which is all you can do in my position. So that's how I work. And those players have been absolutely brilliant.
George?
Just on Ian's point, can you explain a little bit why there are financial restrictions? Because to some people on the outside, richest club in the world, can sign who you want. That's not the reality, and that reality doesn't really do you any favours, does it?
No, it doesn't in terms of the media perception. But financial fair play is now in full power in the Premier League, and so you have to fit inside of those structures. So we will fall in line like every other club. Certainly, as you said, the perception is one thing and the reality is very different. So we'll have to just be smart with what we do.
Secondly, sorry, a general question we've been asked all Premier League managers. Are you okay with the rules, the laws, the guidance you're getting at the minute about tackling? There seems to have been sort of an uptick in sort of bad tackles maybe last weekend and this week, and are players getting enough protection from referees?
Yeah, me personally, I'm okay with. I was a little bit. I was a defender, centre half, so tackling was what I did, and I played well. That is. So yeah, I'm okay with the tackle. I haven't seen anything too outrageous in our recent games. I think in terms of protection, yeah, I'd say that. I think in the main, I think the players get protected well nowadays, certainly compared to when I played. But I think there'll always be moments in games that are on the edge, and certainly when you look at a player like Maxi, Maxi will probably have a different view. His own perception would be slightly different, I think, with the amount of times that he's fouled and some of the challenges he receives when he's at full speed. But I don't see anything, high in reckless, and if they are, then usually it's a red card. So I think the protection is there.
Lee Ryder?
Yeah, you've got two back-to-back home games coming up now, comfort at home. You could get the job effectively done, or the first part of the job, in survival. Is that huge motivation for the players with Liverpool and Man City on the horizon?
Yeah, it is. Huge motivation is there for us. I think we want to maximise every game, and especially being back at home, as we said before, the Wolves game is a big thing for us. Now, we can't let that just be one game in isolation. No one knows how many points we need to stay in the division, so we're taking every game as a huge opportunity to get another 3 points, and yeah, we have to show that, especially in our next game.
Which don't have a point on the squad. Obviously, at the moment, your squad's already oversized, so you have to say that there's going to be some departures this summer. You would concede that probably.
Well, I think naturally, with every squad in the Premier League, I think if you asked every manager and they're honest with you, there'll be some departures. I think that's the natural flow of a football team. As I say, I don't expect it to be huge change for us, but there'll be subtle change, and I think that's healthy for the squad.
Thank you. Okay. Kieran Kelly?
Eddie, Newcastle obviously its own unique club, but when you look at Leicester, what they've done with the recruitment, the training ground, the trophies they've won, do you think that can serve as a source of inspiration in the long term of what's possible even with restrictions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're a great club to look at how they've invested their money. I think firstly, you make a really good point about the infrastructure. I haven't been to the training ground, but I've seen enough of it to know how it's a world-class facility. I'm sure if you speak to the players, they will say that it's transformed their day-to-day working environment and what impact that has on their match day performances. So I think then you look at the academy and what they've invested into that, and certainly I think they've done it the right way. And of course they've recruited well, and they've had a big impact. The new signings have had a big impact on their success in recent seasons. So full credit to them and how they've managed the club, and especially in difficult times as well for them over the last few years. So yeah, full credit.
You've brought a lot of leaders in, formed a leadership group, and maybe Jamal Lascelles hasn't played that much, but he's stayed club captain. Do you think too much about who wears the armband? Do you see him being club captain going forward, even if he doesn't necessarily play?
Yeah, no, I take that very seriously, because I think your leaders are everything to the day-to-day running of the club, the culture that you're trying to create. You need leaders to inspire other people and set the example of behaviour. So Jamal has been in or out the team. He's been the same person, and that's the biggest compliment I can give him. He's been a really, really good leader for us, a very powerful, positive presence in the dressing room. So I'm delighted with it.